guys, Miss Osuna here. Let's go on ahead and get started rendering chiffon. So first things first, we have to start off with a skin tone. We're going to render the skin starting on the shadow side. So I've chosen the left side as my shadow side, and you can pick whatever croquis you'd like. I have one that has the shoulder higher on the left, lower on the right. So as you are rendering, just keep in mind that you want to keep the left side of the arm darker than the right side because that's our shadow side. You want the left side of the torso darker, the left side of the neck darker, etc. So as I'm filling in these skin tones, I am leaving little bits of white space in between, but I'm leaving entire white spaces on the light side. Toward the center of the torso, you're going to notice I'm leaving a lot of white space there too. So basically, when you're doing chiffon for the skin tone, you want to cover the outer edges and then you want to leave more white space toward the center. Also, you want to cover over the essentials. So I'm covering over the bust mostly, but I am leaving some white at the areola. And I'm covering over the left side and right side of the torso, mostly on the left, far right, and not as much in the center. Leaving that center open is going to allow the fabric to pop. Now let's go on ahead and design the actual top. So I'm doing a puff sleeve. On my left side is where I'm starting, and the puff sleeve stops right around the bicep area of the arm. So it's a short sleeve, and this is going to show some cleavage. It's going to have a cutout. So it's an asymmetrical neckline. The left side goes up towards the right around the neck. So we have a very nice diagonal asymmetrical look. And then I'm just drawing the sleeve on the right side. So the gathers first, and then those puffs. Those are with parenthesis shapes. And once you do that, you want to go on ahead and move to the side of the body, just barely to the right of the actual croquis. And then I'm going to stop this just around the waist. So it'll be a tiny bit short, stopping at the waist. Now we're going to just take our lightest color. That's our first color. This particular one is a very light blue gray. That's the actual name of it, light blue gray. And as you render on the shadow side, you want to keep it light. We're going under the arm, and this is chiffon, so it's see-through, but notice I did not put the skin tone on the inside where her torso is as much. I kept the skin tone toward the outer edges on the left and the right. So now that you are rendering, you can see the chiffon fabric is covering over nicely, and we're going to darken those areas where I've left a lot of white. So here on the right side of the sketch, I'm rendering the arm and that sleeve as well. And now on the right side of the torso. So just a very little bit of color is what we're putting down right on top of the skin tone just to start. That's layer number 1. Once again, this color is light blue gray. But of course, any color you want to do is totally fine. The only thing you need to remember is that your skin tone should be lighter if your color is not going to cover it. So if you wanted to make a woman who had very dark skin, just do a light version of that very dark skin. Barely touch the page, so that way your color of your chiffon will be able to cover over that somewhat. If you're doing a very pale skin or a medium skin, you probably don't have to worry too much unless you want to do white for the actual chiffon. If that's the case, and you have very pale skin and you want to do chiffon for the white, then I would say make the skin as dark as possible. So these contrasts between the skin tone and the color of the shirt are very helpful in appearing like chiffon. So now here I am rendering the second color. And my second color is cool gray number 1. Of course, you can use your second darkest color, whichever colors you have. Starting on that shadow side, always pushing harder, and we are coloring right on top of that skin tone. As I'm adding the second layer of chiffon, I'm also adding a cuff. And once again, I am touching more on the shadow side. I'm adding a little band at the bottom edge of it as well. But I am making sure to allow some skin tone to show through. So you can see by leaving some areas white, it really does give the illusion that there's chiffon fabric on top of body. Now let's add some colored pencil. Just turn the pencil on its side, and this is going to be white colored pencil. And it just helps to soften the look and create that chiffon feeling where it is see-through. And it kind of gives a little bit of a glimmer and a sort of a cloudy softness to the fabric. All right, keep going. This is coming out really lovely. Next, add some colorless blender right on top of your colored pencil. Now, of course, if you were doing organza, it's a lot more crunchy. You could leave out the blender. But because we're doing chiffon, it's softer. Both are see-through. It's just a matter of the feel of the fabric. So because this is a chiffon, we are going to do the blender. But if you wanted to do organza, you could leave the blender out and keep that crunchy sort of a texture. But right now we're going for the softness. And once again, we're going to add a little more skin tone so that we can see that cleavage. And of course, we want the skin to pop in certain places underneath the chiffon top. Now at this point, we're going to add salt because this is going to have a glittery sequin texture. But if you're just going for a basic chiffon, you would be done. So if you want to stick around and add that glittery texture that feels like sequins, go on ahead, add salt to your surface, spread it out. Yes, salt, regular salt. And then we will work to create this glitter texture on top of our chiffon. Simply take your colored pencil and scribble on top very lightly, and you'll start to see little tiny dots appear. That's the beginning of our texture. Now repeat with white colored pencil. And notice sometimes you can hold the pencil on its side to scribble on top of the texture so that you get different feeling than when you hold the pencil upright. You can do both ways. And also note that most of the white is kept toward the light side, but I definitely have some in the shadow sides of each part of the garment as well. Now take your white gel pen and add several dots all over. Make sure that you do have many of them on the light side, but you do need some on the shadow side also. Now we're going to add some correction pen just to have bigger dots. You want that combination of larger and smaller dots to create a very nice glittered or sequined effect. Now just add a little bit more white gel pen. And again, that's to taste, however much you want to have these lines for reflection. I typically keep these lines to the outer edges. From one dot, you simply go up and then down and then left. So you start at the center, and then you work your way up, left, and down. And you basically are allowing the light to feel like it's reflecting off of the sequin. So this is a taste preference, however many of these lines you want to put on some of these dots, but I typically keep mine toward the outer edges and then only a few in the center. Next up, we're going to add a little bit more skin tone just to give that tiny bit of see-through effect a little bit more pop. We do want to use the arms to be more see-through in this particular case, and the center of the body is more covered up. Because of course we know that the sleeves do not have a lining underneath them. They're perfectly fine being see-through, but the actual body is covered with a little bit of a lining underneath. So that's why we are keeping most of the skin tone toward the outer edges on the body and the sleeve itself for the arms. Here's a fun little tip. You can take a head that you've already created before and cut it out and then try it on your croquis before you actually commit to coloring it in. So I'm choosing a head that is more casual to balance the formal dressiness of this particular croquis. So the sunglasses are more casual, and I like that balance with this formal, sort of dressed up, glittery, sequin looking chiffon. Now we're just adding a little shadow under the hand with the silver colored pencil, just as a finishing touch. Of course, you're going to go back in and decide which head you're going to do, which hairstyle you're going to do, which makeup, etc. But that is it for rendering your chiffon that also can have a glittered, sequined looking effect. Great job, you guys. I cannot believe how good you're getting so quickly. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.